Yeah, basically there are three different varieties of components we're having controls. One is the active component, passive component, and active components with lifecycle methods. Passive component is label. Though you click on the label, nothing happens. So there is no event for the label. So that is called a passive component. There is a active component such as buttons, switches, even tables are called as even buttons and switches comes under the active component, and active components with lifecycle methods such as UI text field to control the text field we are having, delegates, UI text field delegate, UI table view, UI scroll view, UI collection view. This comes into third category. We have seen three different categories. Even if you take whatever control you take, which falls under any one of them. In today, we see segmented control. This is active component with no lifecycle methods. And text field we have seen, slide, I take switch, I take activity indicator view, I take progress bar, I take step bar, QC page control. If there are any small components, we take image view. Text view we have date view, map view. Yeah, these are the plain controls what we have. All these are, this is active component which contains multiple buttons. Single button we have seen. If you want to have multiple buttons in a single control, you can go for segmented control. This is slider to increase or decrease the values like brightness or volume. This is a switch which we use to on and off toggle the operation. Activity indicator to show the loading indicator. Stepper to increment or decrement the value in a particular time with intervals. And progress bar, which is to indicate to show the progress of particular piece of functionality. This is image view to display the images. For images, what I do is I make this as background at the beginning, and I'll increase the size. I can go here and set size. X is 0, Y is 0, height, I don't know what is the height, and width 414 and 870 is there, 896 total. Okay, let's run it. We do not have any image, I have not set any image. Let's go to assets and drag and drop one image. It is 0083. Go here and set the image. You can do the same thing programmatically as well. 0083. This is the background image. If you see, it is not filled. Our image size is bigger enough, but the image is not filled. This is called content mode. Here, scale to fill automatically it stretches and fills. By default is aspect fit. Aspect fit in the sense it won't automatically stretch the image. It maintains the aspect ratio. aspect fill proportionally increase and fit the image. Redraw, center, these are a couple of content modes. We generally use scale to fill, or most of the time we use aspect fill to have the proper resolution, proper aspect ratio actually. Okay, I want to fill it for complete view, so I stretched it and kept it. Okay, this is the image view. How to set the image for the image view? I want to access the property and I want to set the image. How to set it? Programmatically, take one IB outlet, my background image. Here image view is the class. In view did load, I am setting. I'm writing func customize UI. Call that method from here, customize UI. My background image view, right? Background image view. It is surplus of UI view directly. There is no UI control. It is surplus of UI view. The image view has some properties like unit with image, highlighted image. Simply property also we are having highlighted image property we are having is highlighted. These are the variety of properties we have. Let me access one property, that is image. The type of that image is UI image. Let's create a UI image object and name which is string. The string what we have is 0083 or 83. Do that 83 here. If you want from here, you can remove it. I removed it. I am setting it programmatically. It is crashing. What is the reason? Found nil implicitly unwrapped optional value. Actually, underlying nil while unwrapping an optional. Okay. Basically, this is an object which is not connected. Go here and give you the connection. New referencing outlet. Select the image, new referencing outlet, and select the background image view. This is how it is displayed, because there are no constraints, right? Even it is going beyond the screen size. Let me set some constraints for this. We have separate class for constraints. We'll get separate session. I'm just setting all the constraints, or just stick to the edges and see if it is displayed properly. Yes, it is displayed properly. Even here for this, I am setting top maintain the same equal space, whatever it is 22, and left and right take the 2020. Okay. For the segment console, there are two buttons, right? Okay, this is also a button. It is also a control which contains the action. Okay, let's go to use the assistant editor. From here, drag and drop and create an action. I'm creating action. Segment control tab. Here we know what is sender and any. Here the sender is the segmented control. And just display that as well. Sender. I want to know which index the user is selected. The index starts from 0. Second one is the 1. Let me take red color here. When user clicks on this, red color should be displayed as a background, white as a background. As we are having the background image, we don't see that effect. To see that effect, what I do is I'll decrease the height of the image view. Then we can see at the bottom the color. Here, how to identify whether user selected red or white. Red is 0 index, white is first index. So we're having sender right. Sender is equal to segmented control right. Sender data selected index is a property which is not getting populated automatically because this is any. The compiler is unable to identify the property which is inside segmented control. So what we need to do is we need to use the typecasting. If let segmented equal to sender as UISegmented control. If the sender is segmented control, then segmented control contains use the segmented control selected index. Selected segment index that is 0. If it is 0, view dot background color UI color the red. Else means we are having only 2 segments. One is red segment, another one is the white segment. I am using cyan color. Here, not only 2, you can have multiple. One thing to remember is this is segmented control. If you see the event, it is value changed because there are 2 events. You can also have multiple events, more than 2 also you can have. By default, you get 2. If you have seen the button can just touch up inside event, control event. Let me create a button. For the button, I'll just add an action and show you. Assistant editor. It is simply drag and drop control, drag and drop. Button tapped. Here, if you see, it is touch up inside automatically. So you need to follow the same. For buttons, you need to use the touch up inside. For segmented control, you need to use the value changed event. Okay, even the step bar might need value change, the progress bar needs value change. Even the switch needs value change. When there are 2 events, more than one event, that is considered as value changed events. Here, print. Okay, let's run it. Now the segmented control is within the boundary. Cyan color, red color, cyan color, red color. If you want to have multiple segments, you can also do that. Select the segmented control, go to the property inspector. There are segments right to make it 4 or 5. For segment 0, this is the title. For segment 2, I set blue. For segment 3, I set green. For segment 4, I will set purple. Same thing we need to do here. If it is 0, do red, set the red color. Else, if segment control, selected segmented. Segmented. Segment control, selected segment index equal to 1. Do this. If 3, 2, do this. 3, do this. 4, do this. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. For 2, we're having blue. For 3, we're having green. For 4, we're having purple. And by default, the red is selected, right? But it is white. We need to change that as well. How to change that? By default, the red. So, which method gets called at the very beginning? This method, right? Build code will be called there. We're calling a method called customize by view.background color equal to red. By default, it is red. It is cyan, blue, green, purple. Okay. Remember one thing. It is we can say it is collection of buttons. The button index starts from 0. The event for this action is the value changing event. For the button, it is touch up inside. Okay, I'll just remove this and make it 0. Now the background image is filled entirely. It is completely filled. Now we're having progress bar. I do the same thing for the progress bar. Sorry, it is a slider. For the slider, 20 pixels left, 20 pixels right, that is sliding, and 35 pixels top space from the segmenting. If you see here, even the slider has a value, right? Has an action. Let's drag and drop it here. Handle slider. If you see here, for the slider also, it is value change event because for each value, the event will be triggered. Here it is any, right? What we need to typecast it. Instead of typecasting this, what we can do is we can directly put the slider. Yes, slider. This also works. If you see the properties of segmented, slider, see the properties of the slider. Slider is a object of UISlider. The properties are by the value is 0.5. 0.5 means it is in the middle now. The minimum is 0. The maximum is 1. Let's say I want to print the volume 0 to 100. And the default is 30. Okay, you can set the minimum value, maximum value, and the current value. And one more thing here is if you see continuous updates. I'll show you what is continuous updates and without continuous. Now it is discrete updates. Okay, let's run it and print the value of slider. The slider minimum value is 40 and maximum value is 100. So minimum value is 0, maximum value is 100, current value is 30. Print current value is sender. Now sender is, if you see, it is UISlider dot value. It is discrete, right? Discrete in the sense when you drop the cursor, then only the event will be called. Only one time, wherever you are dropping, there the event is triggered. But what I want is the volume. When you move up and down, when you slide it, the volume should be increasing and decreasing continuously, not when you stop it. So for that, what we can do is go to storyboard, choose the slider, and put the continuous. If you see here, just to remove the printing of sender. Where is it getting printed? UISlider. Handle slider find value means why is this getting printed? Let me put a breakpoint and see why it is getting twice. One, open this. I don't know why it is getting printed multiple times. Let's see what is the issue. Rerun it. Oh, it is automatically getting printed. We didn't write anything, right? Else, it is connected to another button as well. Let's see another action. It is connected to. Yeah, this is the problem. Segment, it is connected to segment to control as well. That is the issue. Because we are having only one statement, but it is getting printed twice. So I got the doubt. If you see, when you keep sliding, the value is getting printed. The event is getting triggered continuously. Okay. If you put it discrete, non-continuous, when you leave the cursor, when you leave the tab, then only the method is getting triggered. So it's discrete. What is the difference between continuous and discrete? Only when you drop, I'm dropping here, only that time it is printed. ఇది జస్ట్ మనకు ఎప్పుడు వాల్యూ కావాలనేది ఇంపార్టెంట్. మనకు ప్రతిసారి మనకు లేటెస్ట్ వాల్యూ రాగానే మనకు అప్డేట్ చేయాలనుకుంటే ఇంకా ఇట్ విల్ గో ఫర్ కంటిన్యూస్ ఆల్వేస్ ఇట్ విల్ గో ఫర్ డిస్క్రీట్. అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ యూ సెట్ ద వాల్యూస్. Value you can directly set and maximum value, minimum value. Okay, here we are having progress bar. Let's control the progress bar with the help of slider. If the slider progress is 30, it should be displayed as 30 only. Okay, let's handle. To handle this, there is no event for the slider progress bar, so we can have the outlet for this. Let me set the constants for this. Leading space is 20, trailing space is 20, top space is 40. And I want to access the properties of the progress bar and set the value. To do so, we need to have an outlet for that. Outlet, IB outlet, V, where progress bar. A progress B actually. A progress B. It is still empty, so we need to connect it. Then what I need to do? The progress value 0 is the minimum, maximum is the 1. You cannot set the 0 as minimum and 100 as maximum. Okay, we will do that as well. Here we have outlet for the progress bar. That is progress bar. Give the connection. For the progress bar, there is no action. Progress bar, there is no action. We need to set the values in another actions. Let's see. When user moves the slider, I want to set the value of the progress bar. Handle slider, right? What we can do, progress bar, that progress, which is float, we need to set sender dot value it is also float. So these two are compatible, and by default the slider value is 30, right? So what we can do is progress bar at progress equal to default slider. That is, we do not have slider here, right? I don't have property to access it. So whenever you are using the sender, whenever you are using sender and you're accessing the sender property, you don't need any property. Whenever you are accessing the slider outside, then you need to have the outlet. So for the slider also, I'm going to have an outlet so that I can access the slider outside of the slider method. ఈ మెథడ్ లో కాకుండా బయట కూడా మనం యాక్సెస్ చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటే కనుక we need to have property, we need to have reference here slider dot the default value whatever it has, I'm setting that value. Let's connect the slider and see slider. This is the slider. I want to set continuous updates for continuous updates. Let's run it. The progress bar minimum value is 0, maximum value is 1. But by default, our slider value is 30. So it is already more than the 1. So it is completely filled. See, when it is moved to 1, it is already filled. So what we need to do? We need to make some calculation. 100 means we need to put 1, 0 means we need to put 0, 50 means we need to put 0.5. So what we can do by 100, right? We're just dividing. 100 by 100 means 1. It is completely, when the slider value is completely moved towards the right, then the slider value is 100. 100 by 100, it is 1. When the slider value is 50, 50 by 100, it is 0.5. The progress is half. If it is 30, progress is 30%. So I'm calculating and displaying that accordingly. Because the progress bar has no maximum value. It is maximum value is only 1, not 100. See here. Even we need to set here by 100. It is 50%, 100%, and the download completes. It's completing. Finally completed, so it is 100%. Here it is 0%. We set 30 as a slider minimum value, right? Minimum value is slider value in the storyboard. Then why it is 30? But when you launch it at very first time, the slider is not at 30. Looks it is at 3 or 5. See, 30 means somewhere here, right? I don't know why it is moved to, what is the first value? It is moved to 1. Actually, it was at 1. When you move it, it becomes 1.1857 something. So the slider default value is not taking which we have set in the storyboard. Don't know. It used to work, right? Don't know what happened. Let me put slider dot value equal 30. This is a default value I'm setting here. We set it already through storyboard. It is not working somehow. Let's see, at least now it works. Yeah, it is working now. Where it went wrong? This bottom slider value. It's supposed to work. It worked actually at the beginning, not sure. Let me print the slider value. This is how you need to improve your debugging skills. మనకి ఇక్కడ 30 రావట్లేదు, ఎందుకు రావట్లేదు చూడాలి ఫస్ట్. ఓకే, వాటిని ఇక్కడ వాల్యూ ప్రింట్ చేస్తాను చూస్తున్నాం. It is set to 1. How come it is set to 1? Customize UI. Starter value. Not sure. I'll check that. We are setting it 30, so even the progress also moves to the 30. That is 0.3 for the progress. We are at 30. Yeah, 30% of the progress. 30 means 0.3. 0.3 means this only. 1 means this. 0 again means this. Okay. Basically, we use progress bar to indicate the progress of particular action. Somewhere we are uploading the image or downloading the image, or progress of the complete saving of information into the database, etc. This is how you use the progress bar dot object. Progress bar object dot progress is the property which we generally use. Slider dot value is one thing to access or to set it, and we have switch. Let me create an action for the switch. Assistant editor, and switch is the method which I write. Here again, value change. Remember, for the button, you need to have the touch up inside. For segmented control, or slider, or switch, even for the stepper also, I guess it is value change only. On and off. What I want to do is whenever the switch is on, I want to show the loading indicator and rotate it. Loading indicator when switch is on. How to check it? Instead of typecasting, I'm directly putting UISwitch. If switch means sender is on is a method. If switch is on, what I have to do is loading indicator. Start animating. Start animating is a method which makes the loading indicator, the activity indicator, to rotate. Else, loading indicator dot stop animating. These are the two methods we are having. By default, the switch is on, right? When it is on, it should be rotating, right? So what I do is I'll call this method so that we need to pass the sender here, and the sender itself checks whether it is on or off. So what we can do, we can call this method in two different ways. One is call it from the viewDid load and pass the switch instance. We do not have switch instance, right? Let's create one switch here. I'll be outside with where switch control. Switch does not work because already we have switch keyword, right? UISwitch. One way is in the customized UI, I'm writing handle switch, right? Pass the switch control. This is one way. Second way is switch control. Send actions for the control event. Control. What is the control event? Value change event. You're just telling to the switch, you perform operation on this event. Okay, this also does the same. Let's run it. It gives you the crash because the outlet connection is not given. Switch control. Run it now. By default, it is on, right? It should be rotating. See, if you clearly observe here, it is getting rotated. I turn it off, so it is stopped. Turn it on again, it is rotating. turn it off. This is important stuff here. How to call a method using switch or button. Even for the button also we are having same thing. Button dot send actions for control event. For the button control event is touch up inside. Or else if you are having instance, you can directly pass this something like this as well. If you see it is rotating, stop it rotating, again start rotating, stop rotating. Okay. Generally, how do you call the method? Handle switch, right? Here we do not have any object, so we took the outlet and then start using this way. Otherwise, you can also use this way. Outlet dot send actions for control event, because inside the handle switch, based on the switch state, we are performing operation. There is one more thing here. Loading indicator. You can set one property. Actually, what it does is when the loading indicator is not rotating, it will be hidden. Loading indicator dot hide when stopped equal to true. Stop అయినప్పుడు కనిపించకూడదు అని పెడుతున్నాం. It is on, right? So it is appearing. It is off. So the loading indicator is also gone. Again on, rotating and appearing. Again off, stop rotating and hidden. It looks very small, right? You can also change this. We are having 3 different kind of styles: medium, large. This is the large one. Large with white something is there. Large white. This is large white. Now see. Off, on, off. Okay, we have final review stepper. Let's see. I'll just set some conditions for this. Top space is 50, leading space is 20. I have not given any, sorry, trailing space is 20. I have not given any leading space or bottom space because the stepper itself contains width and height. Now, stepper is also having multiple values. So let's see handle stepper. See what is the control event. It is again value change. If you remember, only for the button we have touch up inside. For the rest of the controls, rest of the active components, we are having value change. Handle stepper. Here, select the stepper and see the properties. What is the step count here? It is 1. I want to increment 5 each time till 50. Till 50. Okay, and here this is stepper, right? View stepper. Now print the value. Sender dot value. Here we are jumping 555 or even decreasing 55. Stop it. See the value now. I'll print. I'll click on stepper. If you see, stepper is disabled this way, this time, like a negative way. Stepper is enabled. This is 0 became 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Now it is disabled. Nothing is happening. Okay, here come back. Each time 5, 5. If you want to increment or decrement, 5, 5. or else whatever step value you want, you can put that. By default, it is 1. Now we have put 5. This is about stepper. And sometimes if you see the loading indicators or some animations will be happen, right? How those will be occurred, we'll see now. I want to change background images continuously. Let's see, let me drag and drop a couple of designs. Let me name them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the images. We are having background image, right? Background image. Control. Set up animation. Background image not animated images. It is asking for array of image equal to a image named. We are having 1. This is 1 image. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are images, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Background image dot start animating, and background image dot animated duration. Like, let me give some 10 seconds. Repeat count also you can have. Repeat count for 4 times. Let me make it 3 seconds, 3 times. This is the method. Call that from video and see. Oops. Yeah, image. It is asking for specify whether it contains image or not. We are specifying definitely contains an image. Why is it force unwrapping? See if it works. This is how you can play the animation. If you give the duration is more, it slowly animates. Because we're having 9 images, right? For each second, one image is getting repeated, getting replaced. When I put 20 seconds, let me see. I put some 20 seconds. Each image will be displayed for around 2 seconds. Generally, if you see some kind of loading indicators in real time, see, this is also image. Even these are images. They take a series of images and start animating. Even these are images. These are images. These are images. They take a series of images and start animating so that you will see that effect. Yeah, he is rotating here. Actually, with images, we can do some fancy stuff we can do with the image animations. We see them.